Hi, this is Tracy Didison, interpersonalwellness.com. Welcome here. So in this video, I want to teach you how to do a wellness improvement coaching session with a client. So a client came in and he did the wellness improvement system assessment. So he's gone through this workbook. This assessment tool is built into this workbook that he's completed the assessment, and so he's gone through. This little book is 32 pages and it's all assessment in here. So he's gone on and completed the assessment, and once he's completed his assessment, so now we're going through the coaching session. The assessment is done. So this is my score, Joyce. How do I get to the next level? So we're going to coach the wellness, spiritual wellness dimension. So we're going to just do one dimension. So he's gone ahead and he's done his spiritual wellness. And here I'm going to show you how to go about the process. So the client has gone ahead and he's identified 5 areas he wanted to assess. So he's done balance, he's done trust, right? He's done his core values, he's done his personal style, and he's done his culture. Okay? So some of the things that we're talking about in this coaching session with the client is how did he do? So the client is saying, based on a scale of 1 to 10, Joyce, I'm doing a 5 in balance. I feel that I'm a 5. I'm not where I want to be. There are lots of things holding me back. And here are some of the things I do to stay balanced. I do some music, I do some woodworking, I go for walks, but I still find myself being hyper-focused. I procrastinate, I avoid. And so those are some of the things that the client feels is holding them back. So on a scale of 1 to 10, the client is overall doing at a 6. So he's feel that he's doing 6 in spiritual wellness, but his goal is to get to 8. And so in spiritual wellness, we have balance, we have trust, we have core values, personal styles, we have culture. So when we look at some of the things that's holding him back, he's talking about bitterness and regret, resentment. So these are some of the issues that he feels that's holding him back from being at that place to having things like trust. So when he did his, he was looking at trust in relationship. So he feels that he's a trustworthy person, but overall on trust, he's given himself a 5. His goal would be an 8. So he would like to be at 8 in his goal. So the goals we're going to put here in red. This is where he would like to be. But he's saying right now in some relationship, he's at a 2. And in others, he's at a 5. That's how he's feeling. So the question you ask the client is, how are you doing right now? And ideally, where would you like to be? So that's the goal. And so you were sort of looking at the gap between where the client would like to be and where they're at. So you can see the client now has created some awareness. So there's some awareness there of where he is and where he wants to be and what he wants to do. So the same happens in core values. The client is giving himself a 7. He knows what his values are, but are we living it out? No. So the client is saying, you know what, I think I really would like to be at an 8 here. This is where I'm at right now. Personal style, he feels he's doing well there. He's at an 8, and he's saying, I'm good there. I don't think I need to do any work. So we'll give the client a score here. Culture. The client is saying, culturally, I kind of know what the culture is, but do I practice it, and I'm at a 5. And ideally, I'd like to be at a 7. So this is the goal the client wants to work towards. So these are the goals the client have for themselves, and this is where the client is at, right? So this is another goal here. We just put GL for goals. So what happens then is we get to sit with the client and start working on the goals. So where do you want to go? So some questions we can ask the client is trust. So when you are at an 8 in trust, what would that feel like? What would that look like? And so that's where the client can start telling you some of the things they ideally would like to have in their relationship. So this is where you get clients to start really thinking of the future. So coaching is about the present and the future. Where would you like to be? What would it feel like when you're there? What would it be like? What kind of things would happen? What kind of conversations would you have? What kind of feelings, right? Very important, because trust is about feelings. So what kind of feelings would you have when your trust is at 8 in your relationship, your intimate relationship, maybe your relationship with your children or your co-worker? Very important for the client to identify those feelings, because one of the things that's really important is that we feel in our heart, we feel that in our gut, we have that, we feel it in our head. So where you feeling it? Where is it resonating with you, and why do you want that? And so get the client to start talking about, why do they want to have that level of trust? Why are those feelings important for them? And get them to start talking about that. And as they do, they start visualizing and living in and start feeling and soaking up the feeling of what it's like to be there. When they do that, it changes their mindset, it changes their feeling about themselves, and they start moving. So for values, the client is going to move from 1 point. It's going to move 1 point up. So it's not a huge climb for the client. So the client ideally could choose to start working at where he has the least amount of road to travel. So from 7 to 8 is not a very long stretch. What would happen? Why would you like to be at an 8? What would be happening there? What would be the difference? So getting the client to start working on that. So what would that look like? That would be able to, maybe for the client, it would be able to articulate her values and be able to know, these are my 5 core values, or these are my 10 core values, and here's how they're showing up in my life on a daily basis. So that might be a good one for the client. Culture. Right? These are the cultural things that are important to me, and here's how they're showing up on a daily basis. Here's how they're showing up in my life. Here's where they're taking precedence, and that's important for me. So these are the kinds of things you can ask your client to get them to start working through the pieces. Now, the nice thing about working with the Wellness Improvement System is that it creates the framework. So the client really is just working. It's easy for them to start working, because coaching is about the client doing the work, and it gets them to start thinking within those dimensions. What's important to me? What do I want to work on? What am I not happy with, or I want to take to the next level? And I think that's what's important. The other thing that happens for this client is looking at things like, what are some of the roadblocks, right? These are things that are in the way. So the client is saying bitterness, right? About things that they haven't done for themselves, right? Resentment about things and people, or things that they're not satisfied with in their life. So very important, things like shame and guilt and moving past those things can help us to feel at that place where we're balanced with ourselves, where we have more trust, we're more trustworthy with others. So this is a great framework to help your clients to start walking through and understanding what they're looking for in their growth, and how to start building these competencies. As you well know, the competency that we build in spiritual wellness is integrity, right? So when we talk about being in integrity with yourself, and integrity with others, and integrity with God, we're thinking about that whole encompassment of integrity. And part of that is having balance, understanding, having that trust, right? That trust in yourself and being trustworthy, understanding your values and how you're aligned to your values, how aligned are you living with your values, your personal style, that's your energy, your essence of who you are that you give out. Then that cultural dynamics within yourself, that within your outside culture, your social culture, and how you're integrating with that and absorbing that into who you are, and how much of that is reflected, and where you want to make changes for yourself. And then, of course, some of the feelings that go go against that comes up, that are human feelings that we all have. So being able to move past those and to start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, which is the goal where you want to go, and how do we remove these things out of the way so we can get to where we want to go. So great. From this session, the client came up with a lot of activities that he's going to do, conversations with key people in their lives, things to continue doing, things to do less of, things to do more of, and then things to let go of, right, for self. And that self-love that needs to happen, because spiritual wellness dimension, that's where our purpose is. That's the integrity of who we are. That whole spiritual realm of who we are is centered within that dimension, and very, very important for our clients to work here. And I always try to start working here with my client because it sets the foundation for their success in coaching as we move forward. So this is a great example of what you can do with this model. I hope it helps you. And if you have questions, please leave them below and I will answer your questions. Take care. Bye now.